Happy Friday, everybody. It's Jenny Clouston here from quite a windy Sunshine Coast. I think we're going to get a storm today. Now, because it's Friday, I just decided to keep the little snippet today quite short, and I was going to answer a question that many of you have asked me and also address how we practice our stitches. Now, I always work on a hoop as much as I possibly can for many reasons, and this hoop being my favorite. It simply is a 12-inch quilting hoop. So, but the magic of this hoop is that I can tip it upside down and I can get behind my work. So back there, and if I need to, I can turn all sorts of different ways, but the most important thing is I can bend it over and I can get behind to anchor off, blah blah blah. You see, it's on a tripod kind of stand. What I also like about it is that the height of this hoop. I stitch a lot and I embroider a lot, so it's very important for me to look after my posture, and this way I sit very upright and both my hands are free, which is important to me because I'm a stab stitcher. So it's a great hoop. I'm not sure that they are made anymore, but I will put a link below and maybe you can find out if you can get any more. Also attached to my hoop, look, I have a workplace injury. I attach a small felted ball to my hoop, and that keeps my needles in place. Now, let's talk about practicing your stitches. And yes, we can simply just pick up a bit of calico and practice the stitches on there. This is a traveling hoop from one of my classes, and my students have just practiced stitches on there. And that's actually quite fun. You can practice your stitch. But I find this not in the slightest bit inspiring, or doesn't encourage me to play or to stay longer here to see what else I can do. And so for me, I have always ensured that the background of my embroidery is interesting. So what I did is, I'll show you a few examples. This one is at least 12 years old. I think before slow stitching became a thing. Anyway, what I did with this, I simply just got some doilies and I added my fabrics to it and then played with my stitches over there, used some unfinished little UFOs to put over there. And what you can see is that by playing with stitches, I have made something that, well, I find it quite useful, and I put stuff in there, but I can also see how my stitches look against fabrics as well. Another one that is also quite old is this one over here. Once again, I've simply laid fabrics down. But when my background is interesting and cute, I find, as I said, I stay there a little bit longer, you know. There I was practicing lavender, and then this kind of circular little bit of scrap eye encouraged me to sort of move and get going. So as I said, for me, it's important that what I make pleases me and I enjoy the process of it. So am I going to enjoy this kind of scenario? I don't think so. Another thing, what you can do is what I do, is I practice my stitches on color. On this, for example, here, I've got men's suiting and then also some fabrics. What's good about this is if you play on fabric that's got color and texture, it actually means that you have to change your stitches. So for example, the wool, the men's suiting here, I couldn't just have very fine, delicate stitches. I had to get structural on it, didn't I? Otherwise it would just sort of fade into the distant yonder. And then also color. When I put these colors on this baby poo fabric, I went, oh my hat, it's bloody brilliant. So it gets you excited, you know, as opposed to that. Yes, that's way more interesting. As I said, on the back, once again, that the initial stitch here was a feather stitch, and because I liked how my needle was going through this, you know, wool fabric, I just stayed there. I stayed longer, I dallied, I added and I played. Most of my stitch samplers, the the finished size is 11 by 14. There's a reason why I do that. First of all, it makes quite a nice clutch, and also it can be turned into a sewing roll, which maybe in time I will show you how I do that. Here's another example of UFOs. So I cut that one up, got a bit of calico on the back, placed all these down, stitched them down, practiced my Spanish knotted something, and it became a little workstation, a doily pocket for my threads. A flower bag became a little hold all, another pocket. There you go. As I said, if my background is interesting, I get interested. All right, last one I'm going to finish off is, I don't know if you remember that I was working on this on my very first video, and it was initially going to be a J, as I said, and became very bored with it, put it away, and then rediscovered it as my daily stitching project. Before I work on any project that is on the go, every day I'd spend about 15 minutes doing a daily stitching thingy-majiggy, sort of stream of consciousness thing. So that became this, and I used all my orts, and I must be very honest, I was oh, look how nice it looks in the sunlight. Don't you just love working in, oh, it's a beautiful day here on the Sunshine Coast, working outside. And you know, I don't really care what this is going to be. It doesn't have to be anything. It can be something that I've worked on. I've enjoyed working on it. So if it becomes nothing, then I've still got my enjoyment I have from it, because I sort of worked on this daily. I did buy a canvas from a thrift store, and my husband just stapled it on, but it doesn't have to be anything. I've enjoyed making it, and there she is, play. And that background was also quite interesting because it's a gingham, so that made it very fascinating for me to work with. Anyway, happy Friday, happy stitching. Thanks for visiting. Bye for now.